Hello and welcome to the 40th running of the Club Marine Southern 80 for 2005. I'm Daniel Gibson. We're in the northern Victorian town of Echuca for one of the world's longest ski races on the majestic Murray River. And in pre-qualifying the Baker's Blitz for today's run, it was Syndicate coming out on top with a time of a 6 minute 57 and an average speed of 173 kilometres per hour. 5 seconds off the record. There was a very strong current yesterday, and I'm sure some of the boats have got plenty more left in stock. Syndicate will be the first boat running down the Murray today in this wonderful event, the Southern 80.
Yeah, it's a fantastic race, and you know, it's our 40th annual event here, and grown over the years. A few years ago we nearly lost the event through insurance problems, but now it's picking up, as you can see, with the entrance, well over 400 entrants for this year's race, so it's fantastic.
Okay, Club Marine have been involved with the Southern 80 now for 9 years. The reason that we love this event is purely because it's a family event. We get a lot of people coming from all around Australia, from overseas, New Zealand. We've even had competitors from the USA to come over and pit their skills against the local talent at this challenging course. It's also been a race that's had its ups and downs. Only about 3 or 4 years ago, due to the liability issues that impacted Australia, we almost lost this race. It was a race that's been held in high regard through the skiing fraternity, and we just thought that we had to step in and make sure that this race kept on going. And here we are today celebrating its 40th anniversary. It's been fantastic.
Well, it was heavy going indeed in the novice classes earlier in the day as some of these teams were completing the whole 80k circuit. FRANTIC having a very good run in the unlimited inboard social category. Oh, look at the air, 38.01 for FRANTIC. The guys really pushing hard. Ironically enough, it was the Ironic boat doing very well in the unlimited outboard social. The guys crossing the line and pretty happy about it with a 40.53. KRYPTONITE, a team out of Emerald in Queensland, made the long trip worthwhile with a 40.07 at 120 k's an hour. Meanwhile, in the smock social category, LOCO, a boat that we'll be seeing later on in the Southern 80, they'll be doubling up. JAGGED dropping it with a 43.27 at 110 kilometres an hour. Four-plan racing, very good job for those guys too, with a 45.5 at 105 k's an hour. Clip-on racing, good job for the open women's social, 46.29 at 103 kilometres an hour. And in the 60-mile-an-hour class, SHOO from Belmont in Victoria got the win at 50.18 at an average of 95 kilometres an hour. This is an emotional run for N-VEE-US. The original skier of this combination, Brad Link, was tragically killed in a road accident just 3 months ago. His dad, Alan, who's the driver, is still feeling the pain.
It's been pretty hard without him, but I've had a good lot of friends and everyone's rallied around us, and I couldn't wish for any better help to get us through, and he was with us all the way down, and yeah, even though the engine did blow up, and we kept it going because he would have said, "Come on, Dad, you know, keep it going." And yeah, so yeah, he just dedicated his life to it.
And so here we are, high above the Murray River near the Turrumbary Weir. That's the starting point for the 2005 Club Marine Southern 80, and the team's getting ready. This is going to be such an amazing event. Let's take a look at how they'll line up. Syndicate, as a result of being the fastest in the Baker's Blitz yesterday, will be the first boat on the water. Blown Budget, Stinger, you got Moonshot, Sniper Racing, Top Gun right through the top 8, Mayhem, that awesome motor in chief, Gasser, then you got Asylum, God's Rival Special Edition, Humble and Violator. We spoke to some of the teams earlier and asked them, how are you going to go today?
It's going to be quite tough this first half of the race. There's some longer straights where you can really get going, and then it gets quite tight towards the end. The river's up and flowing quite fast, but you've always got to be thinking, even though you're a little bit tired, you've got to keep your head switched on, otherwise you miss out on a corner and it's all over.
Yeah, today's a Southern 80 ski race, you know, it's a totally different day, and I think today we're going to push it to the limit and hopefully we're going to take it off.
About 4 bends to go in the Blitz. We're going quite well, and big right-hand corner, and ski skipped out and ripped the pin out of the ski, and we went up the bank. That's about the extent of it.
Are you injured?
Oh, I feel like I've been hit by a truck, to be honest.
Describe what the ride's going to be like from a skier's perspective.
Fast and hard.
We've won the Baker's Blitz for the last 2 years. We would like to got 3 in a row. Our form's on the board at the moment. I've got great skiers, I've got a great crew, and mate, we're not happy with our run yesterday, and we're out to make it 2 better today.
A little surprise a few today. A lot of the stern drive boats go better on the Sunday because there's more straights up this end, so you can get a chance to catch boats like the Syndicate and Blown Budget, so we'll go all right. We've got a good mechanic, so the chances of our boat finishing are pretty good.
Bit of work overnight has pulled a few more horses out of the bag, so I think today will be a different game.
Oh, the boat's got plenty more.
So you're confident you can defend this title?
We can defend this title. We're going to win it.
Well, this is it, folks. We've been looking forward to this for over a week now. The Club Marine 2005 Southern 80. We're in the water. There is the Club Marine starting barge. Green flag at the ready. Syndicate, the first team away. And Ken Oliver joins me in commentary. These guys worked very hard in the Baker's Blitz yesterday. They're away, Ken. You must have goosebumps.
Well, the little racecraft. This is the boat that will turn on its own length. This is the one that's going to go up the river and shake the whole race up.
We just saw the track record, or the course record for this, held back since something like 2000, so the race record's been there a while.
It certainly has, but this boat's certainly capable of winning it. Danny Cropper and Vardy, 2 of the top New South skiers. Have a look at them go.
We're talking 80 kilometres in just over 30 minutes. An amazingly physical event, and they don't lift. These guys in the boat, they do not lift. This is Blown Budget. We're carrying the onboard camera. It's on the helmet of the observer, correct?
Yep, Steve Morley's helmet is where it's at.
And somewhere back there, Ken Oliver, is your son. Off to the left or off to the right as we look at them?
It's the right-hand side, yes.
So you'll be a nervous character watching this. Fantastic pictures off the back of Blown Budget. There's the graphic down the bottom. It's a Chevy 496 cubic inch turbocharged, as if you needed to go any faster. Gee, they're physical. Look how strong they are in the upper thighs too, Ken.
Yeah, that's Brett Dominguez there, a very, very powerful skier. Certainly one of Australia's top skiers, Brett.
Look at this, we're up to race speed now, peeling off the right-hander, looking at the back of Blown Budget. We're talking about almost 500 cubes turbocharged. That's insanity.
It's certainly one of the boats throughout Australia, a great riverboat race. This is the boat for smooth water, but there we're back at the Syndicate. Gary Rudd driving. There he is, well into the race, probably around the 25k mark, probably in there.
Here's a replay now. We're just looking at the power of this man. Look at his upper body, so strong. One hand behind the back, in complete control. Stinger. Now here's the combination we've got to look out for today, Ken.
Yes, Stinger, a great boat. Greg Houston, Kevin Boylan, Jamie Graziano and Chris Gell, all from Sydney.
Now how long are we is the interval between when the guys start each boat?
1 minute apart.
Not a lot of time, particularly if you come off the back of the ski, that's for sure. It's an incredible event. We're talking upwards of 60,000 people along the banks of the Murray River. We take a look at Blown Budget from our aerial position here. Echuca, Moama, on the world-famous Murray River. Talk about world-famous, so too is this event. Looking at the back at Blown Budget. Hammer down. Water very smooth this morning, Ken.
Beautiful smooth water, isn't it? You just can't believe how good that is.
This is the significance of the Baker's Blitz that we saw yesterday, where the top teams, to compare it, it's like the top 10 shootout in V8 Supercar racing. The defending champs, the Axe, with a moderate 540 cubic inch supercharged motor. Look at the Axe! Straight into it, Ken.
He is Kelvin Black. He certainly gets right onto the gas, doesn't he?
Oh man, that boat is looking to climb right out of the water and head skyward. These guys are absolute. What was the signal just then?
Up. He's ready to go. That's all he's wanting. What he's saying is, we're safe. Get into it.
Look at this. Get into it. Isn't he doing that there?
That is unbelievable.
See, that boat's covering a whole lot of air, getting right out of the water. This is incredible speed. We're talking over 170 kilometres an hour with 2 skiers. Now, we're pretty fortunate in the Baker's Blitz. Nobody went down, but the danger is always there, Ken.
It certainly is. It's something that we're very fearful of. It is something that you just have to be finger on the pulse all the time. We pray that we're not going to have a bad smash. We try and keep it safe.
Now here is the camera position. This is mounted on the observer's helmet. Now he's looking back the whole time. If you reckon it's freaky being towed by one of these things, imagine being backwards the whole time. HELLBENT, a 500 cubic inch Chevy, turbocharged. You're watching the Club Marine Southern 80 from Echuca, Moama. This event, 40 years in the making.
40 years for sure. There's HELLBENT, Steve Rowe, the man of steel, and Daniel Campbell, another boy from New South Wales. this boat will be very, very hard to beat. This is a great boat, great crew, and they really work hard on their practice on the river. But they're into it, aren't they?
If you ask me, they're all made of steel, mate. Specifically different parts of their body. Here is Stinger, high above Stinger. Look at the speed, look at the crowd along the banks of the Murray River. They're all camping out there. You got houseboats to contend with as well. Sniper racing. Now, something very interesting about one of the skiers in Sniper, Jason Cartledge, who's very well known in Australian road racing motorcycle circles, is a skier as well.
Well, Jason started off skiing with us. He's been one of the top skiers. He decided after a while he'd go back and have a go at motorbike riding, and he's certainly done well in that.
Well,
but we're glad to have him back here and skiing with us.
Ken, if you're going to skim around at 300 k's an hour on a motorcycle, you might as well try at 170 on the Murray River skiing behind a boat. It's all the same thing, isn't it? Look at this, 496 cubes here, towing 2 skiers along at over 170 k's. Club Marine, wonderful supporters of your event again this year, Ken.
Yeah, we can't do it without Club Marine. As I said, they've just been wonderful how they've stood with us for years.
Look at the inside skier in particular, just cutting a beautiful swathe across the water. Everybody wanted the cleanest water. We now see Top Gun, a Chevy, 496. Well, they're all Chevs pretty well. Turbocharged. This boat very cleanly off the line. Not too much in the way of bad manners. Look at the water being displaced out the back.
Yes, this is our New Zealand crew, and they'll find it very interesting today. 122 corners, and they'll come up on them fairly quick. And I'd say they'll be a little bit untidy, but they'll love this. Now we're back at the axe. Look at them.
Yes, the sharp end of the field, if you'll pardon the expression here, the axe. The guys who won last year's event and looking to go back to back, though, you have to say Syndicate has really thrown down the challenge. Look at the speed. It's hard to get an idea of it until they pass a point of perspective. But can I imagine when you're on the banks of the river there enjoying a coldie, they would whistle past you.
Well, the beauty of this race is because 122 corners, sometimes the river goes back on itself and people can actually hear the boats coming, and they get usually 5 to 7 minutes and waiting, the anticipation or waiting for it. It's unbelievable.
The judge out here from Cranbourne in Victoria, this team. The boat very nicely through the water in the early going, but they've got over 30 minutes of competition ahead of them. I can't even imagine what that must be like from a ski point of view.
They certainly have to be fit, don't they? The training they put into it and the way they look after their diet, it's a great credit to the skiers.
What about the drivers? Does the driver of the Chief look after his diet? Is he an athlete?
He's just one of these blokes. He's got that upper body strength, hasn't he?
Very good, Ken. I like the way you covered that. A strict diet, I'm sure. He's a real character, certainly, the driver of the Chief. We'll talk about him a little later on. These guys cutting through the water nicely. Syndicate got the fresh water. They were the fastest in the Baker's Blitz yesterday. That allowed them the first look at the course. How much rougher would the water be right now to say when the guys first came out?
Well, it'll all depends whether Budget is starting to catch them. If not, if they're staying their minute intervals, their water will be very good. But looking at Budget at the moment, they seem to be on good water.
Here's my favourite. I'm sorry, but
Here
this guy
is
the Merv Hughes of the H2O. This bloke, look at him, he's a big, powerful man. He's got 570 cubes behind him and a couple of very talented skiers. The Chief on the water.
Yeah, great boat, isn't it? And 2 young chaps too, Daniel Shipp and Jason Jaworski. So it's great to see young people coming through like this.
Ken, let's have a listen to the note of this motor for a sec.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Doesn't it sound mean? It's like a truck coming at you. Actually, most trucks probably don't have that kind of horsepower, but it really motors along. And Chief, a very consistent campaigner. You said this man puts everything into the sport.
He doesn't stop, Cole. He works 12 months of the year on the sport. Great campaigner.
HELLBENT on the water, a fantastic name. We're talking about some of the names of the boats, and that's something I've had a lot of feedback from the motorsport public. They love the names of the boats, something different each time. And HELLBENT, that's what these guys are at the moment. Gasser, this is an interesting combination here. 540 cubic inch supercharged Chevy. These guys have been down the water in a rough way, haven't they?
They've certainly been upside down a couple of times, but we're all hoping today they can put it together. This is a great crew. Dave Bradford, one of the real stalwarts of ski racing.
Yes, he spoke so nonchalantly about how he had that big wreck at over 170 k's last year with a boat flipped and flipped and flipped down the water. Well, he's back out there, and the name says it all, Gasser. This, of course, they're not really up to speed just yet at this part of the course, Ken. How long would it take them to reach their top speed, would you think?
Oh, they're straight into it. They warm these boats up, they have them hot, they're ready to go straight into it. They do not hesitate one bit.
Sniper racing, we look down the chopper, barely able to keep up with these craft as they storm down the Murray River. Look how close they get to the houseboats. You talk about a fantastic viewing point. ASYLUM now, 500 cubes, turbocharged, and away goes ASYLUM. Now, these guys had some trouble in the Baker's Blitz. They were either not able to start or not able to finish, but either way, they had a marble right down the end in starting today.
Yes, they're down the bottom end, but they'll do well. They'll be in it at the finish.
Fantastic to see something like 16-odd craft here competing. What is the numbers that you generally get in the Southern 80 for this part of the course?
Oh, look, usually on a day like today, we can start 300 boats in the afternoon.
Now, what is the go here with Stinga?
Oh, dear.
All sorts of trouble there. We're not sure if it was a boat problem or a skier problem. We're back on board with Chief now. 570 cubes is fairly chewing up the Murray River. You'd think this thing would pull the bend out of the Murray.
Look at the wall of water he's putting off. He's really flying.
Now look at the skiers at the back. If you can cop a look at those guys hanging on off the back, they look so in control. That's the amazing part. God's Rival. Now that's a heck of a name for a boat.
Well, this is the motor out of God's Gift, the former winner of the race, and it's the whole motor is still intact, and this is a boat that still pulls crowds, so they're going to do well today, these lot.
Well, good luck to them. Fantastic looking boat. That's one thing I've really noticed, that there's a lot of effort goes into the presentation of the craft, Ken. Everyone's very proud of their entries.
Yep, Ian Baker is skiing behind this boat. He's a former Rochester chap, and Ross Harris. So these are a local Victorian team, and they're going to go really well in it.
Is there much communication going on between the observer and the skiers at all, Ken? And if so, what are the signals?
Well, the driver and observer have got radio contact with one another, so they can talk, but the skiers, they can get close enough and yell at one another, but they'll gee one another up. They'll get to talk and warn one another about different corners.
Now, what's that, for example? The observer got the left arm in the air?
He's just put the hand up to say that he got their signals and that everything's okay. So they probably gave them a little back off or something, but he's just acknowledged that he read their signal that the skiers gave him.
Look at the chopper high above them as well there, as we see Special Edition now heading off. Everybody's got the big cubes. If you brought anything under 440, you're going home a lot later than everybody else, aren't you?
That's for sure. Charlie Hunt's skiing behind this boat. He's from Echuca, and Phil McDonald. So
look at him waving him on. Come on, let's get into it.
Let's go.
How many major water ski events would there be like this in Australia each year, Ken?
There's 6 of them. They start off at Grafton, and then they move down to the Sydney Bridge, Southern 80, Robinvale towards Mildura, then Mildura. There's also one over at Murray Bridge.
One thing I couldn't believe was the attention to the boats and the skiers in town the day before, when you guys have your big parade before the actual festival starts. Incredible, the public interest.
Yep, it brings people from just all over the state, all over Australia. They all come to it.
Look at this, the speed we're covering here, blown budget. Now these guys are absolutely hammering. We've got some split times, and the news is that they're actually running down their rivals at the moment. These guys are hammering. Is there a point where they might actually pass other boats?
You can just see they're starting to pick up on Syndicate there. There was ripples of water, so I'd say they'll be passing them soon.
There is Status leaving now, the Club Marine Start barge. Those guys are off and running. Man, if they run down Syndicate, they'd have to be looking pretty good for the victory. I know it's early days yet, Ken, but to be hauling in Syndicate, remember Stinger had some trouble. They were off to the side before, so man, it's a big run from blown budget.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't be catching Syndicate early, so I hope Syndicate hasn't got problems, but they probably shouldn't be catching them this early.
Checking out the boys at Gasser now, going past one of the houseboat craft there, and look at the crowd all the way along the banks now. Good shots here, the onboard side of things now for Gasser. Just off to the left there, you can see the right arm of the observer. A lot of people think these guys are just along for the ride. Good opportunity to get a bit of a bird's eye view of it all, but that's not the case. These guys have an absolutely crucial role within the team. We caught up with Kevin Dahlberg. He's the main man, the observer in this boat.
My role is to sort of be the eyes for the driver, looking at both the skis at the back, making sure we're not cutting corners, the right speed, that they're comfortable, that everything's going A-OK, observing the engine at all times. Basically having a look, make sure that we're all smooth, coming in and out of the corners, how much speed we want to top out going up the straight. There's a lot involved in it. A lot of people think you just sit there, you're along for the ride, but I'm sort of working the whole time.
Yeah, they have an absolutely crucial role in all this. Now, Ken Oliver, we saw Status leave the line before. We're now watching Bullet Racing. We're now into some of the different categories here. We're out of the super class as such, aren't we?
We certainly are. We're into Status was Open Women with Emma Carson and Lee Hicks on. And Bullet Racing is another boat from Sydney. And this boat is super quick. Unbelievable, this thing.
Now we're going to be looking at our chopper perspective, and certainly our onboards are going to stick with the super class. But look at the way this boat is skimming through the water here. This is making good speed, God's rival, Godspeed almost.
Isn't it? It's really going well.
Look at the perils of how close they were to that tree there.
Did you see the boat hook then as he went round it?
Oh, did you see the skier just hook? I think I saw something pucker anyway. That was very close to the agriculture on the side. We now take a look here. You can see these incredible pictures we're getting from the helmet of these guys. Man, they're covering some speed. Oh, what a moment then! What happened then, Ken?
Well, he's high-sided and he's put it up on its side, but when you see those shots and see all the air that's in underneath it, and he's pretty untidy, it shook him up. Look at it.
As you can see, here's a look at it in slow motion now, Ken. You have a look at things are going swimmingly here. Then all of a sudden the boat just leans up on the side. And what you do see, although you may not see it in the slow-mo, is the observer looks over at the driver and says, are you right?
Yeah, look at the skiers swing out. They were ready to bail out. They were finding a spot to land.
Is that right? That's what you got to do, just get off.
Get out of the way. One was going to go either way.
Well, it's heart-in-the-mouth stuff here on the Murray River. Let me tell you, they take no prisoners in this sport. It's exciting, but, oh, man, it's also frightening at times as well. Status doing very well here.
This is incredible to see these two young girls starting way up the top with the blokes. Like, these girls are going to go way under 40 minutes.
Chief, 570 cubic inch. I just love this thing. He's absolutely rocking. Look out the back towards the skiers there. They leaned right over, hanging off that right-hander. You see them. Oh, we got a skier down.
Oh, dear.
Someone's gone down hard then.
Oh, gee, that's a big one.
Oh, and any time on the river, it's going to be a big one, isn't it?
Oh.
At well over 170 k's. Here's a slow-mo, Ken. What do you see? Oh, looks like he went forward.
He's just lost it. His skis dipped in on the corner on him. Oh, gee, that's a big fall. He's done 3 or 4 cartwheels. You'll see there's the ski go. The front went down and over he went. Straight over the front. That's a bad fall.
That's frightening, isn't it? We now see the Bee heading off right now, 480 cubes, so they're not wanting for any horsepower, getting right out of the water to begin with. The ride will smooth up, though, as we're a little bit fearful for the safety of that skier off the back of Chief just then. Hopefully we'll get some sort of an update as to what's going on. Now, a bit of traffic here, guys.
Well, there's obviously someone's missed a start, so they're all on top of one another there, but I think that's Hazy coming out by the look of it.
Now, passing is, yes, you're right, mate. Passing is not something that we should be fearful of. The guys do it quite a bit, is that right?
Well, that's up to the observer to signal to the driver, and the driver will move over and let them through. We try and enforce that rule to make sure that if someone does catch another boat, that they do let them through.
Now, here's our skier climbing back in the boat right now, and Chief, man, that was just a frightening ride at well over 170k.
I looked around and I saw my arm there and wondered whose it was. Great. Look at my wetsuit.
Well, that's Jason Jazuski there, and you just heard some frightening comments he made. He's affectionately known as Jason Jet Ski, and right now he's lucky to have no broken bone ski because he came off that boat in an enormous rate of knots.
It's great to see him be able to come back and talk. Like, that's every driver's fear, to go back and find someone floating, but that's great to see that.
You'd lay in the water for a while and count all your fingers and toes. Independent Crane Hire are wonderful supporters of this event. They've made the TV pictures possible. We caught up with them just a few moments ago.
Helen Britnell coming in soonest for the sponsorship. It's the first time they've done the satellite link up to have the television coverage, so she wanted to put the dishes on the end of the boom, and got another 2 cranes, one at the 5 mile, one at the start, and to link up the television coverage. and she thought it'd be the first time they'd done it. So.
Yeah, isn't that fantastic stuff? Something like 3 cranes across the course, if you'll pardon the expression. Big Smoke Racing. Well, as far as the world of jet ski races goes, this is the Big Smoke, isn't it, Ken? Oh, jeez. Our skier in all sorts of trouble there, like a trapeze artist. He got it back.
Oh, this is unbelievable. They haven't backed off. Look there, they go around the corner and he's still trying to get hooked up.
Oh, man, that doesn't look like a fun way to spend your first trip. He still hasn't got it.
He's hanging in.
Well,
he's going to fight it all the way, look.
Well, if they stop this, they're basically in trouble, aren't they?
They're buttoned off for him now.
Oh, that's devastating. You just see here, they're just not ready for the start.
He missed his wrap. He just missed it. There he goes again. Now, it catches in the water under his ski. Look at that. That is a great save. That's the best save I've ever seen.
Is that good luck or good management?
It went under his... It's good luck, but good skiing. It went under his ski, and usually it just flips you straight off. So they're lucky to be still in the race.
Body count. What a fantastic name for a boat in this sport. I love it. Body count. Where's CSI? This is good stuff indeed, isn't it? They blast off past the houseboat. This thing picking up speed rapidly.
That was great shots off the back of the boat, that camera, I think. That's there it is on top of the air cleaner.
Body count. Everybody's got their tongue well and truly in their cheek in this sport. They know that certainly that there are the dangers. This is a bit of an S-bend towards the start of the course, isn't it?
The first 3 or 4 corners are left, then right again, and they really shake the drivers up till they get their rhythm going.
Is there a chance at all to practice at all this weekend on the 80k course, Ken, or is it just...
Not a lot of practice is done. A lot of the locals can get down and do a little bit of practice, but here's Mirror Image getting ready, and this is off the front of the boat. Look at that.
Yeah, some good shots here. I think we're going to see a lot of sky here, Ken.
I think so, as this rears in the air.
This will be good because this will at least give us a forward-facing perspective of the speed here. If you're just joining us, you're smack bang in the middle of one of the world's great ski races, the Club Marine 2005 Southern 80 from Echuca, Moama on the famous Murray River. And this wonderful event, over 300 teams here this weekend, over 60,000 spectators. And look at the speed. This is what 170k an hour looks like across the Murray.
Yes, and this is a great boat. This is the Robertson's boat from Sydney. So everyone in Australia will know this boat. This has done a lot of world ski racing, this boat.
And the big prancing horse on the front there as well. Well, the Southern 80, it continues to rock here on the Murray. Stay with us, folks. There's more from the Club Marine Southern 80 coming up in just a moment. Welcome back. We're smack bang in the middle of the Club Marine Southern 80. Well, we're on board with Blown Budget here at the Club Marine Southern 80. Off to the right, we can see the wake of Syndicate. These guys are honking.
Well, they've caught them, and I can't believe it. And they're going to go round them because there's the other skiers, and around they go.
4 skiers wide. Now, there is the Superclass race record, 31:23. That is an amazing time. It stood the test of time for about 4 or 5 years now. I can't believe they just went around that turn, 4 skiers and 2 boats wide at 170k.
Well, the Heartbeats will be starting to race now in Blown Budget because they know they're in the lead, and they'll be starting to think record time here. That's what they'll be starting to think, and that boat, he's really into it. You can see it rocking and rolling then.
Rebel Racing now. The Chevy 500 cubic inch entry now pulling away from the Club Marine start barge. Bearing in mind there's an enormous amount of teams here. We're well and truly out of the Superclass ranks now into a variety of different categories.
Yes, this is the Kendall family, and they've been great competitors, probably going back 15 to 20 years maybe, and it's great to have them back. They always prepare a magnificent boat. Father and son in that boat.
Now here is Chief. Well, at the moment they're just rumbling back. As you saw earlier, they had their share of problems with Jason Jet Ski, as it were, coming off. Now, is he back on boat?
He's back on. You've certainly got to admire his courage, haven't you?
Man, that's the last place you want to be heading, outside the boat again. Now, here is Blown Budget. These guys are the story of the race. They are honking.
Look at the air under it.
Magnificent pictures. This boat is flying. They've got a bit of backing from Valvoline by the looks of things. People who know, they say, well, these guys certainly know how to lead. Could it be a record here today on the Murray?
Look at Brett Dominski bouncing then.
This is fantastic pictures here once again on board.
Warparella Drive.
Look at that. That is a boat going forward, Ken.
Oh, is it ever. They're right in Warbrella Drive. They're only about probably 3 minutes out from the finish, you know. Everything's going their way.
Well, you wonder, will there be a record top? Well, these guys are going to be a bit disappointed, Syndicate, though. They're still charging at the moment. You get the feeling that when Blown Budget went by, that would have sunk their resolve a little bit.
Well, knowing Gary Rudd, he'll stand in and fight. He'll hang in there all the way. I'd say they're down on the pace a little bit.
Certainly they were the boat to beat in the Baker's Blitz yesterday. They were one of the few guys to actually crack that 7-minute barrier yesterday, the Baker's Blitz. So they're running in about second place at the moment, we would guess. Back on board now with Blown Budget. Look at the speed, look at the fauna disappearing off the side. These guys are absolutely hammering. Things well and truly in hand. Ooh, what happened then?
Oh, slack rope, motor, something's happened.
You saw the whole boat just shake then. There's some trouble. The skiers are down. Oh, he's not happy. Oh my goodness. Dominguez is absolutely devastated. Sounds at the moment like they've got huge problems.
Oh dear.
Well, that's an absolute tragedy right there, and you didn't have to be a rogue scholar to work out the way Mike felt about it. He let go with a few colourful expletives, as well you would. He was almost at the line.
Four corners was all he had to do. Hairpin and then into Barul, and he was home. They've hit something then too, Hellbent. See the bit of wood splinter and go in the air, then off the shoulder.
Well, Syndicate must be thinking they can't believe their luck. They had Blown Budget go past and give them a case of windburn, and right now they've gone back past a stricken Blown Budget, and Syndicate looking to cross the line. So in the end, they've come up trumps after looking like they might not have been able to match it with Blown Budget. There is Syndicate, a very consistent run for them. There's the time, an average of 131 kilometres an hour, 36.32. So a very good job for Syndicate. Hellbent, very happy as well. The big signal, 32.46, 146 k's an hour. That's a great time from Hellbent.
Oh, is it ever? And here's the Axe now too, look at Ed.
The defending champs storming towards the finish line. Some beautiful pictures here. The Victorian produce entry of the Axe. Are they going to go back to back? That'll be the question. We'll look for their time in just a moment. They've been consistent this weekend, Ken.
Well, the Axe always is. The Axe has been coming down here now 7 or 8 years, and they're great competitors. Mirror image now. These are great shots off the front of it. It's great just to sit here and watch this boat turn and go into the corners there. Now they're going up to a right hand. They're coming to Paracuda.
Syndicate of the first boat home. Here's Daniel Gibson with them now.
A lot slower than yesterday. It was good for about probably a third of the way. Then apparently we've broken a belt on the fuel pump, so it was all social skiing from there.
We wonder what might have been the case, because obviously fastest qualifier yesterday, first boat down the Murray in terms of the super class, and we lost you from the coverage for a little while. We saw Blown Budget, but then again you guys saw them on the side of the road.
Yeah, well, when they passed us, it wasn't far after that, and they were stopped in the water again. But it's nice to get out first, man. It's like a big mirror. It's like a pond. It's beautiful.
Man, just look at the upper body strength in those guys. Just incredible strength. Well, here we go. We're getting towards the business end of the Club Marine Southern 80 now. These teams starting to cross the line. Hellbent putting in a very good time earlier. The Axe now closing in 36.13 at an average of 133 kilometres an hour. So the Axe, they'll be happy, but Hellbent so far looking the best. Gasser, this is a triumphant moment for them, I would think, Ken.
This is just a great run. They will be just so proud of themselves to have pulled this one off and got home. It's been probably 6 or 7 years since they've come home in the Southern 80. It's a real thrill for them.
That's, of course, the motor that Ken lovingly refers to as the hairdryer. Let's now go to the banks for some of the stars.
Yeah, we were lucky enough that every boat that we had to pass was stopped, and stopped well before we got to them, so we didn't get any trouble. So we had a nice clean run, so it was all good.
Well, the Axe were looking like they were really on the money, but it looks like they might have got the chop. Here's Daniel Gibson with some more on this.
Yeah, we were going really well. We had an awesome run till about the 5 mile ramp, and we got caught behind a boat who wouldn't get out of our way, and caused Grant to go in, and a bit dirty at the moment.
So Grant, you came off?
Yeah, mate, I went for a tumble.
Now, that's not just what you were telling me. Before we went on air, you were saying you cartwheeled and got hammered.
Yeah, I got absolutely smashed, mate.
So we're back on the water now with body count. This 496 cubic inch supercharged Chevy towing along very nicely indeed. Oh my goodness, did you start seeing some of the stuff coming out of the back of that motor, Ken?
Yep, there's big things happening in there. Look at that.
A lot of disturbance, a lot of oil now on camera, smoke, all sorts of problems. So it looks like the body count will be a motor. That's a big problem for those guys. Oh, you can see it's starting to get worse. A lot of black smoke now. Time to pull in. The skiers will have to paddle their way back to the finish line. Here is God's Rival. Now, these guys have been very smooth today.
Yes, this is a very good run from them. Great run. Ian Baker, he'll be very, very pleased.
Fantastic looking combo. Magnificent looking boat. They just present themselves so well. As you said, the motor from this boat, very well known.
Yes, God's Gifts motor. That's the motor that's won all the races throughout Australia. And here's Gasser across the line too, I think.
Now, what a result for these guys. Dave Bradford, he told us last weekend, the coverage about that huge crash that they had. As you said, they haven't finished one of these in a long time. And look at the elation.
Look at Kevin Delling. Look at that.
The Observer absolutely going off. The skiers will have to hang on a bit longer. But look at this. The guys are absolutely pumped. Hands off the wheel. They're banging heads. There's a happy team.
They certainly are. Look at that. First time for a while for Dave to come home. He will be wrapped.
I don't think he even knows necessarily what his time or where they finished. I don't think that's the thing that really matters to him. Mirror image now. Honking along, looking pretty good at this point. Although starting to slow a little bit here. So Mirror Image might have a similar problem. The body count, they're in trouble, Ken.
Oh, they're heading to the New South Bank. Look at that. Oh, gee. Oh, that's sad for them.
It's that kind of race, though, Ken. It can break your heart. It can give you that moment of elation that you crave, and it can certainly break your heart. Geez, a big boy there. One of those skiers then as they come out of this final left-hander. You see the Observer starting to wind them up. Yeah, we're almost there.
We're nearly there. Here they are.
God's Rival.
They've done it. They're home.
37 minutes, 24 seconds.
Good run from them.
On the high 120 k's an hour mark. That's an average, remember. And Status. Good result for Status.
Oh, this is great. Emma Carson and Lee Hicks. This is the first of our girls home. That's a great run from them.
Let's hope they can make it to the line. One boat that already has is God's Rival.
Well, Ian and Ross are the skiers on God's Rival. Ian, how was that run?
Yeah, not too bad. We took it fairly easy there just to make sure we got down the river, and after that got halfway and we thought we were going okay and kept a fairly steady pace all the way down, so hopefully we'll see how we rate, how we run.
Yeah, those guys have to be happy with the way the day's gone for them. Likewise, this band, although they've had their share of dramas, certainly with a skier going down, Chief has continued. Gee, I tell you what, that Jason dude is a tough customer. Got back on the skis and they're heading across the line. Now here is Bullet. What a result for Bullet. They've done very well today as well, Ken.
Yeah, Bullet Racing. They're a great boat from Sydney. Steve Moynihan driving this boat. Very, very heavily involved with Bullet boats right throughout the years. But this is a super, super quick boat.
35.51 for an 8-litre inboard. Oh, what has happened here? Status in all sorts of trouble. We now have the skier in front of the boat towing it in. That's bad. Neil Donald joins me in commentary now. Ken Oliver has taken a well-earned break as we take a look at Little Man. And, that is a tragic result for Status now.
No good at all, Wade. Hopefully the boat themselves are all okay.
Well, let's have a look at Little Man. Don't forget now, what are we up to? About entrant number 80 out of 180 or something today?
Yes, 189 boats we've got starting today, so they go all afternoon, Wade.
That is incredible. Something like a 3-hour tournament. Away they go. That's the B. We saw them earlier on, and those guys skiing extremely close there.
These guys are unbelievable. They're from Blackwater in northern Queensland, and they come down every year. They love it.
Fantastic. They look like they're putting on a display at Dreamworld the way they're skiing at the moment. So the unlimited in-out, 36.19. That's a good effort.
It's a good show from the team from the B.
Now here is Chief. Well, there's no doubt they'd be feeling mixed emotions, although he's acknowledging the fans by the looks of things as the big fella. And that's good stuff indeed. If they hadn't gone down, makes you wonder what might have been, Neil.
There's Big Cold. Looks like he's out for a Sunday afternoon cruise there, so I think they're off the pace with that fall.
Yeah, well, there's no point in trying to hurt your skier even further. He'd have to be aching. Here they come, acknowledging the fans. They're certainly the entertainers of the bunch, aren't they?
They are. Cole, he's a gentle giant and a fantastic man for the sport.
Look at this. We're going to end up with a couple of guys here going 2 wide, or 4 wide, depending on your perspective. Chief picks up a 53.23, 90k average, and as you said, Neil, they definitely buttoned off towards the end. KAMAKAZE now, a Chevy 350. So KAMAKAZE powering on at the moment. Well, you know, this event's been running for 40 years now. Here's the man who won the first one.
Oh, well, by chance, I had a Shell preheat centre in Echuca, and the local rep said, we're having a bit of a run on the skis. And I said, oh, yes. He said, we want a couple of local teams. And I suggested, well, we're only amateur skiers. Well, we'll do it. We'll have a run around. So we come down here and it's 520 miles.
520 miles. I don't envy the man trying to ski for that distance. Hey, we're on board with Alamo right now. These guys are off and charging. So many competitors to get through in this incredible Club Marine Southern 80. Well, Daniel Gibson's been very busy. He's now down the banks talking to Jason Jetski.
Well, as we know, all this weekend there's been a lot of debris floating in the water, and we were a little worried that someone might actually hit some of it during the race. Well, bugger me, Jason's done exactly that. Mate, tell me about that experience.
Well, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. We were going really well up to the halfway mark. I don't think we dropped under about 100 mile an hour, and we're just coming around a right-hand corner, and I just felt a big thud on my ski, and next minute it was sky water, and all over.
You've torn your wetsuit, you're pretty stiff and sore.
Yeah, the boys did some panel beating on my fin, on my ski, and we got up and going, but yeah, not good.
Now, Chief's just showed me this. This is his little GPS type thing, and this is showing that he came off at about 125 mile an hour. 125 mile an hour, ladies and gents. It's not the kind of thing that you want to do, mate. You're lucky to be still talking to me.
Yeah, well, maybe later on I might pass out. It's all good now, we're home.
Man, he's a tough customer, isn't he? Now we're getting a bit of a rock up here, Neil Donald, starting to get some air under the hull. This is KAMAKAZE.
That's that quick little boat from Shepparton with that 350 NASCAR motor in it. Looks beautiful on the water, doesn't it?
350 NASCAR motor. Some of these motors we've seen in the Superclass look like they'd be at home on the back of a top fuel dragster, let alone doing this kind of stuff. These guys have had a good day, Neil. Looks like they may be heading towards a pretty strong time.
Looks like a good run for them. They're coming around the last corner now.
This is just such a widely respected and renowned event throughout the world, really, not just New Zealand, also in the USA. There we go, 37.43 for a 6-litre inboard. That's a great time.
It's not a bad time at all for that little 6-litre boat.
Little man, we saw them start earlier on, and those guys having a pretty solid run here as well. They're, of course, going to have to deal with the water now pretty well the way they get it, aren't they?
Yeah, this is this little lad boat from Tongala, just out of Echuca, and it likes the smooth water, and young Sean Tompkins driving it well there.
Well, they're not going to face really any smooth water as such. We take a look at Sniper Racing. We talked earlier about one of the skiers, Jason Cartledge, being a road racing motorcycle rider of some note, so I wonder if there's any similarities in what's going on here. Now, here's a couple of ladies, and have a look how happy they are here. They've had to swap boats. They're whipping themselves on. They're loving it.
Yes, young Lauren Eagle there from New South Wales and Laurie Dunsmore from the States. And look at them, they're just happy to finish.
Laurie Dunsmore off to the left, the American lady has come out, as you said, and they tell me that young Lauren is a model of some note as well. So look at them, they're absolutely pumped. That is great stuff. Had to swap a boat. We're back on board with Alamo now. Chevy, a 454. Things are going quite swimmingly at the moment for Alamo. It's pretty cash.
Beautiful looking boat from Murray Bridge in South Australia. Great to have them over here.
Amazing where you get them from. They just come from every corner of Australia and also internationally as well. How casual does he look?
He looks like he's having a Sunday drive. Something's gone wrong there.
Doesn't look like a Sunday drive now, Neil.
Something's gone amiss there in the motor, I think.
Uh-oh, and look straight back to what's happening with the skiers. They're always your first concern and dramas. Well, he doesn't look happy at all. Jumps up on the side. A lot of smoke off the back of that boat just then, so trouble for Alamo. That's a shame. Man, this boat sits up in the water, doesn't it? It's a unique hull design.
There's another one of those lead boats, Streamline boats from Sydney.
Well, a very good time for the Streamline boat. The mock entry just over 40 minutes. It's been a Barry Crocker for Sniper, though, Neil. They've had an absolute drama.
They're beautiful looking racecraft there, but not such a good run.
No, it's they've had their share. In fact, they've had everybody's share of dramas. They're well and truly over an hour here. So almost an hour and a half, 54 kilometre an hour average. Stalker, great looking boat. These guys sailing along pretty nicely as well. We spoke to the owner of this boat and asked him, what does he think of the Southern 80?
The Southern 80 is probably the Bathurst I class it as in the races with the skiing, because there's a lot of tight corners and 126 corners, and it's pretty hard to get down, and it's more of a driver's race than a skier's race, so it's good.
So it's the Mount Panorama on the Murray, basically. He's likening it to Bathurst. Strike 2. That's a great-looking boat, Neil.
Yes, we have the Gully Boys back here again, and yeah, very nicely turned out boat. Look at them go.
Over 180 combinations. Should point out too, if you're wondering, and I was too, how much does it pay to win this deal? It's like about $5,000 to win this check to cross the line first. Summertime Blues, fantastic looking boat, 5.2 and 6 litre inboard, 51.52, a good time there as we see Gambler taking off. Now trouble already.
Looks like they've missed the start there. The one skier's let go, and that'll be right. They'll turn back and get them and have another go.
Got the Gambler just like the Gambler sprint car chassis. It's even written out the same way. So wonder if there's a combination all there. Idlewild, meanwhile, good looking boat.
Idlewild in the women's class, coming around the last turn there, about to cross the finish line.
That's a good result for Idlewild too. The ladies, as you said, they're certainly ladies competition forms a big part of this weekend, doesn't it? There it is, the Open Women, 38.12. That's a great time.
That's a very good time for these young girls.
They've got to be happy with that. This boat really starting to rock and roll. $5,000 sounds like a fair bit of money, but when you divide it up between 4 people, $1,250 to go your hardest. Too hard. Good result for them. Everyone's starting to bunch up a bit now, Neil.
Yeah, look like they're all closing up, and you get a few boats passing. We try and seed the boats so you don't have too many passing, but it does happen.
Strike 2, the 16 to 19 years boys closing over now too as well. Everyone's so strong in their thighs. Their upper leg strength must be incredible.
Here comes Revival coming around the last turn.
A Revival from Sunbury in Victoria, 39.01, a good time, 123 km/h average for them, so an excellent result for those guys.
A couple of quick girls on the back here, Chloe and Shan. They've been skiing for a long time together. They started as tadpoles, and they're around about 17, 18 years of age, and they're still together.
How important is it for these teams to have spent a lot of time together like that?
Well, they get used to the one partner, and they do all the river races, and they don't like to change.
El Loco. Such fantastic names for this. We've now got more of an outboard style motor with these guys, but they've done their hard yards as well. I think it's a victory for anybody who can cross the line.
Well, it's such a long drilling race, Wade, and people are just wrapped just to finish it, no matter what the time is.
Well, you're talking about some teams that are taking, more around the 50-minute mark, but if you get them down to 30s, you're doing well. There is the Smock class, 41 minutes and 25 seconds. Very good result for them. The Confederate, haven't seen a lot of those guys. Oh, I love the Royal Wave.
He's pretty happy. He's waving to the crowd as he comes along.
Look at that. It looks like they might have had a few fans on board. That's a great shot, too, off the side of the boat. We haven't seen that perspective so far, Neil.
No, that's nice and close to the water. It gives you a real good look at the water and how fast you go.
Look at the people. You get about 10 to 15,000 people just at the finish line, don't you?
We do, and they also line the banks. The whole 80 kilometres is covered with campsites, and it's great.
Here's another category taking off. This is the WACKER, 486 cubes. So WACKER heading off. The signal from the observer, is everything okay?
Yeah, it looks like they're going well. This boat tows a couple of the sub-juniors, the under-13s, so they're just starting. They're well down the field.
Oh, we're in trouble and we're down!
Oh, I spoke too soon. The poor kids, they won't be happy with that.
Man, he started to go and it just got worse, didn't he? You can just see now. Where's he in trouble? There?
He's just gone to wrap up and lean forward, and he just lost his balance. And over he goes.
Face plant. Boom! Oh my goodness. Not much of him either. He's only a little fella.
No, they're only little blokes, but he'll be right. He'll get up and he'll do the course.
Yes. Spit out whatever he's just accrued of the Murray River. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we've got some high-speed stuff coming towards the line. Some people look so relaxed like that.
Well, some do it easy, some do it tough. We're getting down now to the boat times around the 43, 44 minutes. This looks like Untamed in the stock 6 litre class, bouncing across the line.
Well, certainly starting to get some bounce up, as you said, from Victoria. 40 minutes, 0.23 at 119 km/h average. So that's a fair result as well.
It's a good time for stock 6 litre, very good.
So we're now looking at Racy crossing the line, 189 odd competitors or teams. Racy crossing the line of 48.09, exactly on 100 km/h average. So not a bad result for them as well.
Yeah, they look like they're doing it pretty easy.
So the finish line, some of these people must be thinking, thank goodness that is the finish line. There is Racy. Good result for them. They're going to be happy with the way things have been today. anytime I said as you can finish, that's a Herculean effort. Of course, some people just take it so seriously that they've got to get the best time they can, but others will be just happy to say, I did the Southern 80.
That's right, and there's a couple of kids here behind Ring of Fire, and as I said, the kids just love it. They love it to death. They love finishing it.
So Ring of Fire out of Moama, so local combination, that is for sure. Looking to cross the line, good-looking boat as well. I haven't seen a dodgy-looking boat yet. 52.21 at the time. No fat Ring of Fire, 46.57. So just a shade over 102 kilometres an hour. And don't forget, that's an average, so the top speed would be incredible.
It would be, and here we have coming across the line is all fired up. Now this hull is actually the ex-Island Cooler boat that won the race around 12 or 15 years ago.
Surprise, it's not called the Bomber. It's from Essendon in Victoria. 49.15 the time, just under 100 k's, 97 kilometres an hour average. And this will be full noise from Ferntree Gully in Victoria, the final boat.
Yeah, the beautifully prepared full noise there. Robbie Bertram happy to finish with young Matty Boyer on the back.
Well, a good result for these guys. They come now down towards the finish line where there's a whole stack of boats and competitors, and certainly over 15,000 fans awaiting them. The final competitors that come across in the Club Marine Southern 80. You can see them hunched over a bit. It's been a long ride. 51.2 the time at 94 kilometres an hour as an average. So well done to the guys. Now there's your winners, Hellbent, as we take a look at your top 16 overall. Hellbent getting the win from Bullet Racing, Sports Page in third, The Axe, The V, Syndicate, Spinner, God's Rival, Kamakaze, Gasser, back then to Idlewild, Kryptonite, Executive Stress, Too Hard, and the list goes on. It's been a fabulous Club Marine Southern 80. Let's go to Ken Oliver on the banks. He must be a happy man.
It's been a great weekend for us. Crowds have been up, which is what we were trying to aim for. I think the big screen has been exactly what we needed to be able to show people the boat starting and middle of the race and then the finish. Club Marine are absolutely fantastic. You know, they've stuck with us when the job was pretty hard for us. We had a major insurance problem which went right through Australia. They stuck with us, and we're certainly very grateful to what Club Marine have been able to do for us, and I hope they'll stick with us for many more seasons yet.
Well, thanks very much indeed to Ken and also Neil Donald for their help. And that rounds out our coverage now of the Club Marine Southern 80. Hope you enjoyed it. Well done, Hellbent.